Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor. I got started a little bit late today for two reasons. My wife, her car was having a power steering issue. The light was coming on in her car and it was time for an oil change. And then of course I had to wait for that 9:30 Brad Garlinghouse interview and wait for a little bit of feedback from the community and see what everybody was saying about it. And so here we go. But first I wanted to show you this. Got this from J. Christian Fire. Had sent me this. You know, I told my 9/11 story yesterday. And for those of you that don't know, I was a Morgan Stanley financial advisor, and it was part of that story. One of the things I did not tell you this year, I may have told it last time I talked about it, but what a lot of people don't know is Tower 2 of the World Trade Centers, which is the one that I was in, had the antenna on the top of it. When you went to the top, not to the top, but when you went to the Morgan Stanley offices, which were further up, I think they were just under where the plane hit. But if you went to the Morgan Stanley floors, you would go up an elevator and then you get off of the elevator at like halfway up the building, and you get on and you walk over and get on a second elevator. So there's two elevator shafts, and there was a Morgan Stanley security guard who was there to make sure everybody knew where to go and to kind of watch everybody go on to the next elevator. This could have been one of those guys. I'm not sure. I don't remember. But this is a Wikipedia on this guy named Rick Rescola, Director of Security at Morgan Stanley, saved all but 6 of 2,700 employees on 9/11 by promptly evacuating them from the World Trade Center despite urges by Port Authority that people remain at their desks. And he did so singing Cornish songs. What a hero. I thought that was worthy of showing on my channel. So we need more people like that in this world. Okay, to the Brad Garlinghouse interview. C3 Nick was on it this morning. Right out of the gate, he sends me this. Ripple CEO, we don't want investors to buy XRP and dump on the market. And that's one of the things he said. There was also a mention from Brad Garlinghouse in that interview, and we'll have a lot more details I like to wait for some of these guys like XRP Crypto Wolf and some of these guys. They'll summarize, and C3 Nick does a good job as well, summarizing like the quotes and significant things that were said or asked. And before I forget, there was another significant thing. One of her questions, and by the way, she did a really fair interview, I thought, but one of her questions she actually threw out, and I'm not going to give the guy any more press here, but she threw out the name of the guy who was trying to cause trouble and saying he was going to create a new or split XRP or something to that effect. And everybody knows who he is, but I'm not saying his name because I'm not going to further that kind of stuff. But anyway, this was said, and then there was also a mention that Brad Garlinghouse, he said the way we measure the use of XRP is as like a percentage of customers that are using our software, and I think the figure was something like 5 to 7% were using XRP, and maybe 15% they have talked about using XRP so far. So we're so early, and he goes on and he talks a lot about how what he said in the past, which is that utility is what's going to drive digital assets, not the speculation. I think it'll be both. And then Mr. B came in, he said, congrats. This lady, I think, does deserve a lot of credit for 2 reasons. She was fair in the interview, I felt, and she reached out to the XRP community, which I thought was extremely smart. And I think by doing that, she was able to educate herself on some of the issues, some of the things going on, and gave him, I think that her interview was really more informed, like he says here, most informed interview of Brad Garlinghouse I've ever seen. I think her interview was more informed than most that I've seen. And I think a big part of the reason is that she's the first person who has come to the most knowledgeable community about XRP and Ripple, this one, on Twitter and YouTube. So anyway, I think that she deserves a lot of credit. All right, now I mentioned this yesterday today, and I Am Legion brought to my attention someone else that has to do with Ripple bringing it up or dealing with this too. What I thought was strange here. Yesterday we were talking about the mega bank concept and for some reason SBI is talking about the mega bank concept with fintechs in Japan. It has something to do with fintechs in Japan. Like they're creating mega banks because let me see if it says down in here. The holding company provides the system to regional financial institutions at a low cost. The system cost can be changed from fixed to variable, and high cost structure can be solved. Let's see. As a holding company, SBI. So anyway, for some reason they're talking about we will use various fintechs in Japan and overseas to realize the fourth mega bank concept with regional financial institutions. So they have some kind of strategy to create this mega bank concept, and they feel like that this is the way to go with fintechs, and they specifically mentioned Ripple in here. And so it was interesting. That was the first time I had heard that mega bank concept before. And then today, I Am Legion sends me this, and this is the finance minister of India, and it says she announces 4 mega bank mergers. Well, who has Ripple? Ripple is one of the only fintech companies that is as active as they can be in India, and in the past has said that they are working with almost every bank, maybe every bank in India. So then Brian Melancholy sends me this, which is kind of a flashback. This is from Dr. T, XRP Trump, who has been gone for a while, but you can still look at his great tweets. And this is a quote from Ashish Birla. So now in our pipeline, we have probably 50% of the market in India, either integrated onto Ripple or in the deal, in the pipeline to be signed. And guess what? We're going to take that back to Wells Fargo and say that there's not a better way to send into India than Ripple. And that's from XRP Yoda. He had tweeted that. So you can kind of see there's something going on with this whole mega bank concept, where it applies to Ripple and fintech, and hopefully eventually XRP as well. Okay, Jonathan D at XRP_YD7 sent this from Catherine Coley. Remember, she's former Ripple. She's going to be the CEO of Binance America. Now, they're going to open their doors to new users in 1 week. Okay, and here's their Twitter handles. I want to make sure I follow it. Yep. Binance.us will be the website. Make sure you've gotten all of your digital assets off of the Binance.com exchange. But it says prepare for launch, Binance.us. User registrations opens next Wednesday. Binance America will open account registration and begin accepting deposits of Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, and USDT on September the 18th. So they're opening literally before Bakkt opens, folks. This kicks off our first phase, and then there's a Medium article if you want to get into that. Now, I want to make another point, okay? We know Binance is about to open. We know that Bakkt is about to open. We know that the stamp of legitimacy that Wall Street wants to put on digital assets is about to happen. Well, there is something else that they are going to declare. I don't know if they will declare it, but it will be known that there's something else that has not been legitimate, in my opinion. I believe this, and that is, and we'll call it price discovery. I believe there's not a question in my mind, and this is something CoinMarketCap has never adequately addressed, and they literally aren't even at this point very responsive to the XRP community anyway, because I've gone over this many times on this channel, the things that CoinMarketCap has going on that are obvious. I won't say that they're anti-XRP, but I will say that there's some things like scroll to the bottom of CoinMarketCap, and I've always said this. They take donations in all the proof of work digital assets, but not XRP, and it's always been that way. Now, and I've asked them why you don't, because that immediately raises eyebrows as to, oh, okay, are these guys Bitcoin maxis? And the reason eyebrows could be raised is because of what happened during the run-up last time. Remember, what caused the XRP to start crashing in value, what set it off was when in, I believe it was January 2018, right after the 2017 run-up, when CoinMarketCap, without saying a word to anyone, everybody woke up one morning and the prices of XRP looked much lower, and it was because CoinMarketCap, without saying a word, had taken out the Korean, I believe it was the Korean pricing of XRP. In other words, the feeds that were coming from Korea, which had higher prices because there's higher demand over in Asia. XRP is huge in Korea and Japan, and there's higher demand over there. And so how can you not factor that into the price? And that's what I've said all along. You cannot get an accurate, we're talking about a global thing. XRP is a global thing. You cannot get an accurate price for XRP without factoring in Asia. You just can't. Well, they pulled the plug on that overnight without saying a word, and then they acted like it was just an innocent mistake. But what happened was when people woke up in the United States, XRP started dumping because it looked like people had woken up, and overnight the price had taken a dive, but it wasn't that way at all. They had just stopped factoring in the major demand that was going on over in Japan and driving the prices up. And so that was the day I realized something's going on here. Well, here's the question I posed this morning. How can CoinMarketCap correctly reflect the XRP price when it still does not include SBI official? Remember, now I'm not saying this part of things is CoinMarketCap's fault, but it's fact. They do not get information from SBI virtual currency. SBI, I've said it for a long time, SBI is an XRP holder's ace in the hole. It's Ripple's ace in the hole. And the idea that you do not factor a feed, you don't get a feed from what's going on in the volume and everything going on with SBI virtual currency is insane. You cannot have an accurate XRP price without that, period. You just can't. That's a fact. It's just the way it is, and they won't even answer it. Now, here's what else is interesting. What else is interesting is when you start reading the comments of this section, this gets interesting too. Because like I said, I don't blame CoinMarketCap totally for this particular thing. I do blame them for nothing. They don't to my knowledge, they don't factor in the Korean prices. They might have added some of them in now, I don't know. But I don't hold them totally accountable, but I do have a question. And the question comes up with what Mr. B said here in reply. I wonder if SBI isn't allowing the plug-in yet. And then and then Bullrun Wonka says, let's do a little digging on CoinMarketCap, which I think we should. And then he says, this is why the NASDAQ Liquidity Index was created. They're not going to price XRP contracts from CMC. So there's all sorts of issues that are going to happen soon that you're going to see pop up. I think this guy's right. I don't think NASDAQ, and I don't think I don't think that those guys have any intention of looking to CoinMarketCap. So the question that you and I have to ask is, are we going to wake up one day and realize that CoinMarketCap is not the place for real price discovery? If they're not plugged in with SBI, whether it's because of SBI or because of them, then we know that the prices for XRP, they cannot be accurate. It cannot be accurate if they're not getting a feed from SBI. It cannot. It's impossible. There's too much going on with SBI. It is impossible. I want somebody to explain to me how you can have the accurate price. And I'm not saying it's higher or lower. I mean, if I was going to bet, I'd say higher, but I can't prove that. I don't know that. I have no idea. But what I am saying is if you're not factoring SBI virtual currency in, you aren't getting an accurate price, period. You're just not. But I believe it. Here's what I truly believe in my gut. I think that part of it on SBI's part, if I was betting, I would say they don't want them to have that feed yet. I think larger things are in play. I believe, in fact, I swear to you, I read somewhere at some point that SBI was doing something with NASDAQ with all this. I believe that you're going to get true price discovery, and I believe that it could be a very positive thing for us. That is just purely me throwing out a theory. At some point, I don't know when, don't know how, this is just me thinking out loud. Now keep going down this. Let's see if we see anything else. Good morning. Fiat leak has not indicated SBF's. Okay, so I think they're saying Fiat leak. Remember, we've shown Fiat leak where it shows it shows you XRP being bought visually in different countries. Fiat leak does not factor in SBI VC either. And then you got the Will Ferrell stare that says, ooh, this is fishy. Then Chinu Patel says, SBIC is not transparent and not decentralized. Disappointed XRP community for the last 14 months. In other words, we're not really getting a lot out of SBI about SBI VC. Is there a reason we're not? Then I Am Legion says, how do we get transparent prices from all the exchanges about all transactions? Hopefully back in NASDAQ is small steps in the right direction. I just wanted to show you all those thoughts because this is something, this price discovery is something that is not really talked about. It's just assumed, oh, CoinMarketCap, that's where, or any of these coin sites. But the fact is, they are not getting all of the information. And you better believe that Bakkt and NASDAQ and some of these people have got a plan in that regard. And SBI VC, you better believe, has a plan too. And that's me talking. Okay, next, I wanted to show you this. This is great from XRP Vegas at Funky Bad Chad. If you're like me, you love listening to the genius that is David Schwartz. He says, when you want to explain to a friend what Ripple and XRP are capable of, don't do it yourself. Let Joel Katz, that's David Schwartz, explain it. And if they don't get it, then feel very lucky you do. I'm telling you, you can't watch David Schwartz really lay it out without being excited about your investment in XRP. And he's not hyping anything or anything like that. But in fact, you just heard my honking neighbor drive by, I believe. I don't know if you pick up the honk that is not the official digital asset investor's neighbor, but it is the honking neighbor. Okay, so go watch this if you haven't seen it. I'm planning to watch it. I've seen it before. I think I'm gonna watch it again. XRP Crow. France will block the development of Facebook Libra cryptocurrency. I want to be absolute. This is the French economy and finance minister. I want to be absolutely clear. In these conditions, we cannot authorize the development of Libra on European soil. And then we had this from XRP Crypto Wolf. France will halt the development of Facebook's planned Libra cryptocurrency in Europe because it threatens the monetary sovereignty of governments, says country's Minister of Economy Finance, Bruno Le Maire. And then we got this. XRP Goonie. I told XRP Goonie my son watches the Goonies over and over, my 7-year-old. And I grew up watching it too. European central banks cut interest rates for the first time since 2016. We knew it was going to happen, folks. The ECB has cut interest rates for the first time since 2016 while introducing a sweeping stimulus package in an attempt to kickstart a lackluster Eurozone economy and stave off recession. Well, at some point, this is all this stimulus and all this. At some point, it's going to backfire, and when it does, get ready for a complete collapse because this has gone on way too long already. Okay, I want to give this guy some major credit, Justin Vargas, and I told him last night that I said, man, I should have covered you a long time ago, and I just haven't done it yet. Today's time-lapse sketch is of the one and only Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse. Hope you like it. And he's got this awesome thing he does. It's like a video where he sketches out Brad Garlinghouse, and you can watch the whole thing form. This is the finished product, and I thought that was so cool. Well, this guy I think he did one. I think he did one on David Schwartz. So we're going to see more and more of this type of thing. And finally, seven-figure fellow sent me this. This is so true. XRP Mammy, a willingness to look foolish for a sustained period of time is essential to seizing the best investment opportunities. Warren Buffett. Who else is tired of people saying you're foolish for investing in crypto? A few years patience for a lifetime of wealth. I love it when people laugh at me because they don't know. Most of them that are laughing don't know 1/1000th of what I know. And I almost feel sorry for them while they're laughing at me, and I kind of lather in it, to be honest with you at this point. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe and hit the like button and tell your friends and family that a willingness to look foolish for a sustained period of time is essential to seizing the best investment opportunities, and I am living proof of that. Thank you for listening.